Okay, so I just wanted to give you guys a little review of the 9 verbs that our quiz on Thursday is going to be on. The first one, dar, is a verb that means to give. As you can see, it's an AR verb. That's one of the first things you want to ask yourself. It's an AR verb. And on the quiz, I'm going to give you things like I give. And then I'm going to expect you to conjugate that correctly and to also choose the correct verb. In that case, the correct response would be yo doy, for example. Or I might say you give. And probably I would indicate informal, which means that I want you to use the to conjugation rules and not usted. To, das would be the correct answer. In most cases, you could also choose to just write das, because within the conjugation of that, it also tells you that you're just saying you. Just by looking at das, you know that means you give, so you don't necessarily need the to. So dar is pretty straightforward. As you can see, it's one of those verbs that in the yo form, it is slightly different. Rather than just do, it has the y on the end of it, similar to the verb estar, like estoy, and the verb tener with tengo. So that's the first example. The next verb, decir, which means to say, is conjugated like this. Yo digo, tú dices, él or ella dice, nosotros decimos, and ellos dicen. Also, ustedes dicen. So, decir falls into a couple different categories. Decir is a stem-changing verb. As you can see, in the conjugated form, the E turns to I, except in the nosotros form. With all verbs that are stem-changing, you get the stem change in all tenses except the nosotros form. So, decir is a stem-changing verb. That E goes to I in the conjugated forms. And then you also see an irregularity in the yo form, which is digo. I say, yo digo. Next verb, ser, which is one of the verbs that means to be, is totally irregular. It has a lot of different irregularities. So you just have to basically memorize this one. Yo soy, tú eres, él or ella es, nosotros somos, and ellos son, or ustedes son. So for example, I might say on the quiz, you guys are nice. And I would expect you guys to know that that's the verb ser. I might, because ser and estar get a little tricky sometimes, I may give you the hint and say, okay, the verb is ser. And then I might also have to tell you how I want you to say nice. But the biggest thing is that you guys are, and I want you to know that it's you guys is ustedes. Sometimes you guys get a little confused on that, so really review. Ustedes means you guys, ellos or ellas means they, él or ella means he or she, tú is you, so make sure you don't make mistakes on that. So what I'd be looking for here, you guys are nice. Ustedes son simpáticos. And that's a word that you may not have seen yet. So don't worry about that for the quiz. What I'm really concerned about is the conjugations. Then I might want to say, you are nice. and that would be tú eres simpático, or simpática, depending on whether I'm talking about a boy or a girl. Tú eres simpático. The next verb, estar, is mostly regular, except for that yo form. It's yo estoy. Yo estoy. Tú estás. Él or ella está. Nosotros estamos. And ellos están. So I might say, I am tired. And there I would expect you to be able to say, yo estoy cansado. Or cansada, depending on whether you're a boy or a girl. If I said we are tired, you should be able to say nosotros estamos cansados. And as I said before, in a lot of the examples, you don't necessarily need that nosotros or yo. The only times when you do need that are with the third person forms. So él or ella da, for example. You kind of need that él or ella, because if you just write da, then you don't really know who we're talking about. So the next verb, querer, is conjugated like this. Yo quiero, tú quieres, él or ella quiere, nosotros queremos, and ellos or ellas quieren, or ustedes quieren. That ustedes form is always the same as the ellos or ellas form. And again, you see here is a stem changing verb. This is a stem changing verb that goes from E to IE, and it follows those normal rules. You get a stem change from E to IE in all of the forms except for the nosotros form. Okay? So I would say I want, and you should be able to say either quiero or yo quiero. Okay? The next verb, tener, is a little bit of a tricky verb because it falls into a couple different categories. It's irregular in the yo form, tengo, yo tengo, and then it's a stem changer in the other forms. So, tú tienes, él or ella tiene, nosotros tenemos, you never have a stem change in the nosotros form, and then ellos or ellas tienen, or ustedes tienen. So if I wanted to say, they are 15 years old, it would be ellos tienen 15 años. Okay? The next verb, ir, is another totally irregular one. Yo voy, tú vas, él or ella va, nosotros vamos, ellos, ellas, or ustedes van. So if I wanted to say, you guys go, it would be ustedes van. And there you do need to say ustedes, because if I had just written van, then following all the conjugation rules, I don't know if that is ellos or ellas, if I'm talking about they go, or if I'm saying you guys go. So in that sense, you do need to say ustedes van. You can't just leave it at van. Next one, hacer, is another verb that is irregular in the first person, in the yo form. Yo hago, tú haces, él or ella hace, nosotros hacemos, and ellos, ellas, or ustedes hacen. It's an irregular verb in the yo form, but then in the rest of the forms, it just follows the normal rules of an ER verb. Last verb, poder, means to be able to, or to can, is the way that we use that verb a lot. It's can in English, but in the infinitive, it becomes to be able to. So that's a stem changer in the that's a regular stem changer that goes from O to U, E. So, yo puedo, tú puedes, él or ella puede, nosotros podemos, and ellos, ellas, or ustedes pueden. Here, for example, I can would be yo puedo, or just puedo. And of course, in the nosotros form, if I wanted to say we can, really remember, no stem change in the nosotros form. So it's just podemos or nosotros podemos. Okay, I hope this has been a little bit helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Colton is starting to bang his blocks a little too loud, so I hope that wasn't too difficult. But have a great day, and nos vemos mañana. Gracias.